Hamilton didn't collapse. It was abandoned, not by accident, by design. Kids are walking past overdoses on their way to school. This isn't just a housing crisis, it's what betrayal looks like. When developers and City Hall watch a city rot and choose to look the other way. They saw it coming. They had the warnings, they did nothing. And if this can happen in Hamilton, your city could be next. Because this wasn't market failure, it was engineered neglect. Investors pulled their money out, City Hall froze, and the province paused critical housing and mental health funding right when demand exploded. The system didn't break. It did exactly what it was built to do: protect capital and leave everyone else to burn. And the ones hit hardest aren't renters, they're homeowners. Because owning a home in Hamilton is now more dangerous than renting. Mortgage renewals are crushing families. Equity has evaporated. Property taxes are rising. Renters can move. Homeowners are trapped. One couple in Stony Creek got hit with a $600 jump on renewal. They had to sell under pressure and they lost 95 grand. A family in Binbrook timed their exit perfectly. They avoided a $40,000 loss, but most people didn't see it coming because no one told them the rules had changed. So here's what we're going to break down in the next 8 minutes. First, who's really at risk in Hamilton right now and what the numbers say about what comes next. Second, 3 brutal warning signs that show when a city's collapse is already underway. And third, a 1-week plan to protect your family's equity before it's too late. And if you want the short version, I built a free 1-page guide that lays out the red flags most Hamilton families miss before the crash. Links below the video. Let's be clear, homelessness in Hamilton isn't just a tragic side effect, it's a pressure valve. Shelters were built to a fixed capacity. The moment they're full, the overflow gets pushed into the street. It's not chaos, it's policy. And those numbers are exploding. Hamilton's downtown rental vacancy rate is now 23%. That's the highest it's been in 9 years. But the people who need homes most can't get them. Because the most dangerous homes in Hamilton aren't the ones falling in value. They're the ones sitting empty. Investor ghost homes, abandoned multi-units, properties that are technically full, but functionally dead. The city implemented a vacancy tax, but it's too little, too late, because the collapse was already built in. And it started with Toronto's success. As prices exploded in the GTA, buyers fled west, investors saw an opportunity, and locals got locked out of their own city. The spillover demand made it impossible for Hamilton's market to breathe. It inflated prices far beyond local income levels, and the second interest rates went up. The whole thing began to unravel. Today, home prices are down 18% across the region. Inventory is up 23%, but that's not the real disaster. The real disaster is this: the people being wiped out aren't flippers. They're families, middle-class homeowners who bought between 2020 and 2022, did everything right, had steady jobs, decent credit, long-term plans, and still got crushed. Meanwhile, the banks got relief. Large landlords got new incentives, and the ones who caused the bubble walked away with gains intact. This is what happens when policy doesn't fail, but succeeds at protecting the wrong people. Take rent evictions. They weren't an accident, they were a tool, used again and again, until the backlash finally forced some municipalities to act. But for years, the inaction was the green light. This wasn't just about affordability, it's about displacement. And that displacement is now hollowing out the core of Hamilton's economy. Middle-income earners, nurses, teachers, tradespeople. They're now part of the housing insecure. That's the real story. Not just tents, not just attics. The death of the middle class, and what's coming next, it's a hard reset. One that most people won't see until it hits them directly. But the families that are paying attention now still have options. I've helped dozens of Hamilton homeowners map out exits, refinance strategies, and market timing windows that protected their equity. Next, we're going to break down exactly how that system got built, why it's still in place, and what you need to watch for if you want to survive what's coming next. The crash isn't the failure, the crash is the reveal, because this system's been broken for years, but the damage was disguised by cheap money. Low interest rates papered over everything. Now that the tide's gone out, we can finally see who's swimming naked. And it's not the speculators, it's your neighbors, your friends, your family. And here's the worst part. Most of them did everything right. They weren't flipping homes, they weren't chasing windfalls, they were just trying to live. And now they're being punished for trusting a system that was never built for them. Here's what that system looks like in practice. Those vacant properties you heard about, they're not becoming homes, they're investor delays, rent eviction gaps, unsold flips, properties held for value, not lived in. That's why the most dangerous homes in Hamilton aren't the ones falling in value. They're the ones sitting empty. And that's not a bug, it's the feature. Those empty homes don't just hurt renters, they're killing the resale market for owners. When supply stays technically high, but functionally unavailable, you can't get comps, you can't move inventory, and you can't protect your equity. So you're trapped, paying more interest, losing more value, watching your street decay, while the homes next door sit dark. And here's the part that makes this so brutal. The people who caused the crash got bailed out. The people who did everything right got punished. That's not market correction, that's policy alignment, because every level of government chose to protect capital instead of community. Now let me show you what that looks like on the ground. Take a couple in East Hamilton, bought in 2021, locked in for 3 years. Renewal hit, mortgage jumped by $870 a month. They're now paying $10,000 more per year for a home worth $30,000 less than what they paid. That's a $40,000 hole, and they can't climb out. This is what homeowners are facing right now, and most of them don't even know it yet because nobody warned them. Nobody told them the rules had changed. So let's talk about the signs, because every city has them. Here are the 3 brutal warning signs that collapse is already underway. Number 1, vacancy inversion. When you have rising vacancies downtown, but the people who need housing can't access it because those units are investor held or in limbo. That's not a housing shortage. That's housing misallocation. It's the first crack in the system, and Hamilton's already there. Number 2, equity trap acceleration. When renewal rates spike and homeowners can't refinance or sell without taking a loss. That's a full-on trap. The moment you see families stuck in homes they can't afford, in neighborhoods they're trying to escape, that city's collapse has already started. Number 3, displacement gap expansion. This is when middle-income earners start falling into housing insecurity. We're talking nurses, teachers, tradespeople, people with good jobs who can't afford to live where they work. That's not just a housing issue, that's an economic red zone, and Hamilton is deep inside it, and yet the people who caused this still getting incentives, still getting relief. Hamilton just announced a vacancy tax, but the enforcement is too weak. The loophole's already written in, just like rent evictions were before the backlash. This is the playbook, policy that looks good on paper, but was built to be exploited. That's not failure, that's intent. This isn't a housing crash, it's a slow motion wipeout of the Canadian middle class. And it started when housing became a commodity, instead of a community, when people with 4 properties and no kids living in other cities outbid local families trying to buy their first home. That's not a housing crisis, that's a capture crisis. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're in that trap, you're not crazy, and you're not alone. That's why I built the 1-page cheat sheet linked below. It's got the red flags most Hamilton homeowners missed before the crash, and the timing windows that helped dozens of families dodge tens of thousands in losses. Next, we're going to break down the 1-week action plan, the key data to watch going forward, and how to stop your family's equity from getting wiped out in the next wave. Let's be clear, most people will not survive the next wave, not because they're lazy, not because they're reckless, but because they're waiting for help that's not coming. Because the system that created this crisis isn't built to rescue you, it's built to rescue itself. But if you prepare now, you can still get ahead of what's coming. So here's your 1-week plan. To protect your family's equity, map out your exit timing, and stop yourself from getting crushed in the next collapse. Step 1, get a real market valuation, not from an agent trying to list you, not from an algorithm, from a local appraiser or advisor who understands the liquidation market. Because if you bought between 2020 and 2022, there's a good chance your home's value has dropped, and you're not going to get the number you think, but you need to know the real number before your lender does. Step 2, run the numbers on your renewal window. If you're locked in, find your renewal date. If it's inside the next 12 months, request your penalty quote and interest rate projection now. If it's over 12 months away, find out your early payout terms. Because in this market, being early is better than being right. Here's what that looked like for a family in Ancaster. They were 18 months from renewal. Penalty to break early was $9,000. But when we ran the numbers, waiting would have cost them $22,000 in lost equity. Plus higher interest, they paid the penalty, refinanced early, and saved $13,000. That's the math most people miss. But here's what separates the people who survive from the ones who get blindsided. It's not who has more equity, it's who moves first, because in a collapsing market, timing beats everything, even value. Step 3, pressure test your exit plan. If you had to sell in 60 days, how much equity would be left? Where would you go? What would you rent? Could you wait and re-enter? Or would you be locked out for good? If that math doesn't work, you're not in a home anymore. You're in a trap, but traps can be escaped. Now, There are 3 key indicators you need to track weekly. Number 1, inventory spikes in your postal code, not your city, your block. If listings rise by more than 10% in a single month, that's the first smoke signal. Number 2, days on market breaks 90. If comparable listings near you sit unsold for 3 months or more, buyers are drying up, the price floor is gone. Number 3, we already hit the danger zone. Renewal quotes peaked between 6 and 6.5%. That wasn't hypothetical, it happened, and it crushed middle-class families across Hamilton. Most people didn't default, they just bled slowly. Savings got drained, emergency funds disappeared, and now there's nothing left to absorb the next hit. Because when your mortgage jumps by $900 a month, you don't crash right away. You cut groceries, you delay car repairs, you tap the credit line. And by the time you're in real trouble, you've already lost the margin that could have saved you. That's why the next wave won't feel like a crash at first. It'll feel like exhaustion, listings creeping up, prices stalling out, deals falling through, and then suddenly, inventory spikes, desperation kicks in, and the panic listings begin. And when that moment hits, you can't afford to be unprepared, because equity isn't real. Until you protect it or move it, paper gains mean nothing. Until you act on them, just ask the couple in Stony Creek, or the family in East Hamilton, or the renters watching homes sit empty month after month. This is how middle-class wealth dies, not in one big collapse, but in a slow bleed that no one comes to stop. But you don't have to go down with it, you just need a better plan, built on better data and faster action. That's why I built the one-page cheat sheet linked below. It's got the 3 warning signs, the 1-week action plan, and the exact data points we use to help families protect tens of thousands in equity. Grab it now. And if you need help running your specific numbers, book a free strategy call, same link. I'll walk you through your timing window and next steps. Because in the next 12 months, this market will punish indecision harder than anything else. The trap is real, but the exits are open. I'll see you on the inside.